Here with head coach Anna Nimz as we get ready for what is, I guess, kind of the first normal-ish week. We've played a game already, and we have more games coming up this week, so we're kind of in season officially now, and I know that just by itself has got to be a good feeling to know that you have some tape on us, and you've looked at that, and now you're preparing for what hopes to be somewhat of some normalcy as we play games now.
Yeah, it's really nice just to be able to move from one game. You know, we talk about you have to have a short memory. You got to wear the loss. You got to learn from the loss. You got to grow from the loss. But we can't, just hold on to that loss. And what's nice is now that we're finally at a stage, although it's going to come quickly to an end, but we're at least finally at a stage that we get to play. We're going to have a 3-day scout. We're going to be on the road. We're going to play. We're going to, 2-day scout, and just the ability to feel a little more normal in what would. Pre-COVID of what would a season or preseason normally look like. It's nice, and I think it's good for us to be able to, like I said, focus on the loss last night, short memory, and then start really hammering down on UTSA this week.
And just talking a little bit about the game against ULM, from just an overall look at it, I guess, how is it to have actual, I guess, tape on us for a change, not just practice film or whatever, but tape against an opponent, and how do you use that to going forward?
It's nice to have game speed footage, and it allows us to be able to show the girls maybe either, really hammer down or hammer home some things that we talk about a lot in practice, but it's hard to know that you're actually doing it until you see it. And I think sometimes kids feel like, hey, I was working hard. I did get back in transition. I did get all the way to my corner. And so it's nice to have game speed, game footage to where we can say, hey, I know you think you were and that you also were diligently trying, but we're about 2 feet from the corner. And those 2 feet mess up timing and spacing. And it allows them to kind of have a aha. Not necessarily proof, but just I think there's a lot of advantages to being able to have that film to then grow from it.
And just looking at the team aspect of it, certainly I know you had some questions about how they would react to certain situations before Saturday's game, regardless of how much they practiced, how much time you spent with them. During that game, now as you reflect on it, even still, what were some of the biggest takeaways from how they performed in the game that you feel like is a big help going forward?
I think the biggest positives, and I told them last night in the locker room, I think they were thinking I might come in and yell, but I was proud of them. We competed, and we competed for a lot of minutes, and we were executed, and we were disciplined in what we did for a lot of minutes. Nobody's playing 40 minutes, so that was a good takeaway. I thought we saw some growth in individual players, that maybe we hadn't seen in practice yet. That's a takeaway. We had some freshmen, I think, get some minutes and be a little bit nervous, and then they settled into it. And so now they're a little more comfortable. They've had that first taste. They've had that first game. And so moving into the next game, we're going to have a little more maturity going in. We know not to be as scared. It's just another game, but they're used to the speed now, and they're used to other people having scouted them. And in a scout, every freshman, they come in and they're good at something, but it's the other team's job to take that good thing away. What can you do, and how do you react to that? And I think the girls did a good job, but I am genuinely pleased with when we got down 9 and we got down, in different runs throughout the game. I don't for one second think we ever threw in the towel and quit. I think that we got to a point where maybe we weren't as heady with some of our decisions offensively. We went on a streak where we didn't score 7 times down the court. And that's where the maturity of knowing to pull it out, run a set, be efficient, and don't live or die by the 3-point line, and learn to make that extra pass, play through your team. That's growth that we were going to be able to have. But I don't think just because we lost, I don't think we gave up in the fourth quarter or the third quarter when we went on a drought. I just don't think offensively we were, like I said, heady enough to be able to move through it at the rate that we will eventually get to.
So moving into this week, 2 games on the schedule, both on the road at UTSA on Tuesday and then at Baylor on Friday, which I know just have the opportunity to play Baylor is going to be huge, just from the fact that there was a chance that we might not have gotten to play them at all a few weeks ago. So to have that opportunity, I know is very exciting for you and for the girls. It
is, and truth be told, obviously we're looking at only the next game. We're only focused on UTSA, but to your point, we are very excited to play Baylor. We have nothing to lose, and how fun to play the best team in the nation, or one of the best team in the nation. We want our girls to approach that not with any fear or any hesitancy, but just how cool. I'm going to go score. I'm going to go get a bucket on the best player in the nation. And it should only be a positive. And then just the way Coach Johnny and Coach Mulkey worked with us, they know how important it is. And Coach Mulkey being obviously a star over here in Louisiana, they worked with us. They're playing a lot of games that week, and she still fit us in. And so we're fortunate to be surrounded by such great people in the business. So we're excited to play, but we're worried about UTSA first.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about UTSA specifics. They're having a little bit of a break too with some COVID issues the past couple of weeks, but I know they'll be coming out ready to get on the court just like we were Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Same as ULM. ULM had some pretty dominant post players. UTSA has some pretty dominant post players, although they don't outsize us quite as much as ULM there on the block. We actually match up relatively well with them there. They have some very skilled post play, a couple of girls that are really pulling down 9 rebounds a game. Right now, they're out offensive rebounding their team 3 by 3 every time. 3 times more, not by 3. 3 times more. They're getting more offensive rebounds than their team. So anytime you think of that, that's a scary number. So that's a lot of extra points. That's something we really talked about today. Last night, we won the rebounding war in the first quarter or the first half. We went in up 1. We lost it in the second half, and we ended up losing. So we lost the rebounding war by 8. We ran for those 8. We really got to know that those rebounds matter. 90% of the time, in my opinion, whoever wins the rebounding war wins the game. And so it's going to be huge for us to keep them off the boards. Their guards are very active. They take a lot of shots. They take some quick shots, and it allows them to really shoot, get to the rim, catch, and put it up for an easy 2. So we have to be very diligent with that. And as far as guard play goes, they've got some really quick turndowns kids. They're really hard take kids. So we're going to have to be diligent in our on-ball defending. I think we did relatively well last night, but I think we bailed some kids out there closer to the rim. So we got to figure out how to guard and finish out the possession, and instead of bailing them out right at the end, we want to force them to take bad shots, and then turn around and get our rear end on them. And me personally, I don't get the rebound, but my girl's not going to get the rebound, and that's kind of the mentality we got to instill in the kids.
Well, I'll ask you this now. Obviously, this will probably be a question more readily answered after Tuesday. But coaches you always say the biggest improvements are between game 1 and game 2. It's a short turnaround with just a couple of days between games. But now, the day before, 2 days before the game, where are you hoping is the biggest improvement from Saturday to Tuesday?
I would say clock management and handling tight game situations. But I will probably be telling you that same thing in February because I think you're always growing. Those things you're always growing because the game's ever changing, and what teams do to you have to be able to adjust on the fly. But those 2 things in particular, and of course rebounding.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again after the game Tuesday.
Awesome. Fork 'em.